100 million creatures drift silently across the sky, riding invisible silk strands, descendants of something so ancient, its story rewrites evolution itself. This is the crazy evolution of spiders explained. In damp, fern-choked forests, tiny eight-legged hunters spun for survival. Not yet spiders, but close. This was the Devonian period, nearly 380 million years ago, when life had just surged from oceans onto land. And these were the Atacopus, primitive arachnids with segmented tails and only a partial mastery of silk. Their bodies bore clues to a transition long underway. Spinnerets not yet refined, silk used not for webs, but for lining burrows or wrapping eggs. What set them apart wasn't venom or speed, but the invention of silk glands, an evolutionary leap unmatched in its finesse. Unlike their scorpion-like cousins, these proto-spiders weren't built for brute force. They engineered their environment. They designed traps and webbed homes. Compared to modern spiders, their anatomy was rather clumsy, with no narrow waist, no web-building precision. But the blueprint had been laid nonetheless. From the tangled undergrowth of the Devonian, a lineage began, one that would soon dominate ecosystems, not with size or strength, but with patience, precision, and an ancient thread. But deep beneath the forest floor, evolution threaded a darker, deadlier design. Some 80 million years later, in the humid swamps of the late Carboniferous period, true spiders finally emerged. These were the Mesothelae, ancestors with armoured plates and a simple but deadly strategy: ambush. They didn't weave webs to catch prey. They built silk-lined burrows beneath leaf litter, camouflaged with trapdoors. There, they waited in silence. When prey brushed past, they struck with speed, and now with venom. It was here that extra-oral digestion began, injecting enzymes, liquefying prey before consumption, a horrifyingly effective adaptation. Mesothelia's design worked so well, it barely changed in 300 million years. In fact, they still crawl today, mostly unseen in parts of Asia, considered living fossils, ancient shadows of a strategy that endures. Their segmented abdomens and primitive spinnerets reveal just how old they are. They were never meant to rule the canopy, but underground, in darkness, these spiders were absolute perfection, silent engineers of death. Then came the greatest dying, and spiders stared right at extinction, and endured. 252 million years ago, this was the deadliest chapter in Earth's history. The Permian-Triassic extinction wiped out over 90% of marine life and 70% of land species. Forests burned, oceans turned acidic, and the sky dimmed under volcanic ash. Most arthropods vanished, but spiders, they adapted. In the ashes of collapsed ecosystems, megalomorphs emerged, ancestors of the modern-day tarantulas and funnel-web spiders. Built for pure survival, they had thick limbs, downward-pointing fangs, and lived in deep burrows, safe from surface chaos. Their venom was much more potent now, their patience unmatched. With fang-lined ambush tunnels and silk-reinforced homes, they did more than just survive, they rebuilt. Even today, they retain that ancient form, a living lineage forged in fire. Where others perished, these spiders endured, quietly reclaiming a ruined world, one webbed burrow at a time. And when wings filled the skies, spiders learned to trap the air. Roughly 200 million years ago, forests teemed with newly evolved flying insects. Spiders changed once again. The araneomorphs arose, agile, fast, and had fangs that crossed like pincers. But their true advantage wasn't in speed or bite, it was in silk. Spinnerets became more complex during the late Jurassic period. Silk chemistry diversified, and for the first time, spiders cast nets into the sky. Orb-weaving spiders spun intricate circular traps for the flight paths of prey. Aerial webs hung between branches like invisible snares, waiting for the buzz of wings. This wasn't pursuit anymore, it was patience. a revolution in hunting, almost like passive predation. Instead of stalking, they built and waited. With this leap, spiders stopped hiding in burrows. They stepped into the canopy, spun with strategy, and fed on the sky. But as landscapes diversified, spiders didn't just survive, they specialized with even more precision. Roughly 145 million years ago, as flowering plants transformed ancient ecosystems, spiders followed suit, adapting their webs to fit the changing world. The clean geometry of orb webs persisted, perfect for open air and forest canopies. But now came tangle webs, chaotic, sticky mazes built to confuse and capture. Just sheets of webs, flat, layered traps stretched across the undergrowth. Each form had its niche. In amber fossils, early Latrodectus, the black widow's ancestor appears, already equipped with venom potent enough to bring down larger prey. These spiders thrived among grasses and leaf litter, mastering stealth and toxin alike. Web architecture became a fingerprint, shaped by region, prey, and purpose. Silk wasn't just a tool anymore, it was strategy. Some species cloaked themselves beneath dense vegetation. Others suspended lethal traps high in canopy corridors. With this explosion in diversity and design, spiders weren't just expanding now. They entrenched themselves into every corner of Cretaceous Earth. From volcanic plains to glass towers, spiders kept evolving and spreading. As continents settled into their modern shapes, spiders endured it all. They conquered it all. This was the Cenozoic era, and in the skies, dwarf spiders began to master ballooning, launching themselves into the wind on strands of silk, riding thermals to new lands. Some landed in forests and others, eventually, in cities. Urban orb weavers adapted quickly, building webs near streetlights where insects swarmed, turning artificial glow into hunting advantage. House spiders carved niches in basements and bathrooms, mimicking cave conditions. But not all news was good, of course. Insecticide use, habitat fragmentation, and climate shifts have led to steep population declines across many regions. Even so, spiders remain a global force, stealthy, patient, and often overlooked. They've spun themselves into human habitats, not as pests, but as predators. Their webs stretch from remote canopies to bedroom ceilings. Even now, as biodiversity thins, they cling to relevance with silk and silence. Though shrinking in numbers, they haven't yielded ground. They've built their homes among ours. Their story isn't as loud as dinosaurs, but it threads through every shadow of time. Through cataclysms that erased titans, spiders endured quiet and uncelebrated, but unbroken. Across multiple mass extinctions, they survived, adapted, and above all, refined their craft. Their venom became precise chemistry, their silk a marvel of tensile strength. Their behaviours defied the notion of cold-blooded simplicity. That is over 400 million years, spiders have threaded their story through the rise and fall of worlds, while massive beasts and predators came and went. Today, even as their numbers decline, spiders remain essential, controlling insects, feeding birds, and recycling energy. These tacticians of stillness and designers of traps maintain balance in ecosystems. And while fear often defines how we see them, the truth is far more profound. They never roared, they never ruled. But spiders endured, evolving quietly, engineers of silk, masters of patience. Do you think the most quietly evolved creature on Earth holds the loudest lesson about survival? Let us know in the comments.